So this might make for an interesting video for most people, I feel, as this guy, this random Nintendo YouTuber who does a lot of Paper Mario and Sonic videos, has borderline zero experience with Metroid. God, fake fan, and he calls himself a Nintendo fan. I know, right? I don't even think you could count the minimal experience I have with Metroid as even borderline. It's really just Smash Brothers and the Brawl masterpieces that had Super Metroid on there for like 2 or 3 minutes. So yeah, by no means am I a Metroid fan, enthusiast, or whatever. But I figured this would be an interesting topic, as despite my lack of Metroid experience, Metroid Dread looks really cool. And even when I say I'm no avid fan of the series, I do at least know of some things here and there on the series. Smaller things, no big revelations or whatever. Like, I'm aware Metroid's always been a big name under Nintendo's belt for all these years. They said to have viewed it as an A-tier franchise, but ever since the late Wii, it's been very hard to really agree with that sentiment, on top of the fact Metroid games don't sell particularly well, despite the legacy it holds, the dedicated and hardcore fans it has, and the amount of time that goes into a lot of these Metroid games. Most hover around 1.5 million, sometimes considerably less than that, and it's odd considering a handful of these numbers aren't bad per se, like the first Metroid or Metroid Prime, but like Samus Returns, the Prime trilogy on Wii, Prime 2, Zero Mission. Like 1 million for a long-lasting big name like Metroid or less aren't really great numbers when it's supposedly one of Nintendo's big first-party franchises. Not to mention the fact that other first parties under Nintendo sell considerably higher throughout the years, especially the big three between Pokemon, Zelda, and Mario, but especially with the very dull period of Metroid games the series got since the Wii. You got plenty of them throughout NES, SNES, GBA, GameCube, with the main series and Prime series, which is technically a spin-off series of the main games, and then Other M came around, which is like one of the most disliked Metroid games ever back in 2010, and for more than half a decade, dead silence. No new Metroid anything for that series. The Prime Trilogy and Prime 3 came out towards the late 2000s, before Other M, but nothing on that until Metroid Prime got a spin-off for itself in 2016 with Federation Force, which, after not doing Prime or any new Metroid game for it to get a spin-off that didn't look or feel like a Metroid for a lot of fans, that definitely did not sit well with a lot of people whatsoever. Forget how bad it sold. Thankfully, next year, Mercury Steam was hired by Nintendo to remake Metroid 2, The Return of Samus on 3DS, Metroid Samus Returns. And it did manage to get good reviews, and I'm sure was generally well liked, but it ran into the problem of it selling poorly, primarily because, like most 3DS games, after 2016, it was losing its active consumers and players, so it was destined to not sell well. My point here with all this, all the claims and statements you can look up to know I'm telling the truth, is despite the legacy Metroid has, and despite it's another one of Nintendo's first-party series, it usually sells pretty poorly, and it's only been in a worse position as a franchise over the past decade, in game quality, game output, and general recognition. But ever since Metroid Dread's big reveal at Nintendo's E3 a couple days ago, it's not only become such a massive saving grace in so many ways for Metroid fans and Metroid as a franchise, I feel like most non-Metroid fans out there recognize how massive of a deal this is, and they don't really need to play or get into Metroid to understand most of the makeup of the sheer impact and raw power this has. Like, even I know how big of a W this is for Metroid and its fans. The first major reason for this being massive is the obvious one, this being a brand new mainline 2D Metroid in almost 20 years! The last main Metroid before this being Fusion, which was way back in 2002. That's a massive amount of time for a new game for its main series. That on its own is massive. The second other big one, this game also had an interesting development backstory Nintendo literally released their own interview on. I didn't want to go too deep into it, so I'm saving some intel on that for my own personal reasons, but the general gist of it is that Metroid Dread has been a long-living name of a Metroid game that was in development since like 2004, but was scrapped at some point due to technical limitations. The DS couldn't handle the technical capabilities in trying to properly convey what the developers wanted to do with Dread, so it was more of an artistic choice, and this is one of those rare cases, kind of like Star Fox 2, in that a cancelled game was being revived, and especially with a series like Metroid, it's debatably more beneficial for it more than others. And the third other massive thing, another obvious reason this is massive, this is a whole new Metroid game on the Switch. Every first party on Switch does very well in sales, several of which marking some of the highest selling entries in their respective series. Metroid Dread is dealing with the fastest selling console Nintendo has, the most active install base Nintendo had since the DS and Wii, but filled with vastly more hardcore gamers than just the casual audience. This is a new game that managed to remain behind Nintendo's doors for the most part, and come out extremely unexpectedly, and now gives Metroid fans an extra game to play and sink into, as Metroid Prime 4 is still in development, giving it more PR power power, and that kind of links into the fourth big reason this is a big deal as well. Metroid Samus Returns was to most people a solid game, but like most other Metroid games in the series, it didn't sell well at all. But that still was a revival of Metroid in a sense. Metroid Prime 4 was announced in 2017, was given a transparent development update later on, and now there's Metroid 5 coming. Like, this recent string of Metroid announcements is heavily putting Metroid back in the relevant limelight of Nintendo's IPs and just gaming franchises, which I feel it needed for a long while now. It's proving to be a massive success in making Metroid relevant again, given a lot of people coming out that E3 Direct are talking about how that game was the biggest highlight. Yeah, you have some people saying Breath of the Wild 2's trailer was the big one, understandable, reasonable, but a very similar amount of people saying Metroid was the biggest one, even from non-Metroid enthusiasts. Me personally, speaking for myself right now at least, I think Metroid Dread was the biggest announcement for me. This alongside the fact Metroid Dread is the highest pre-ordered Nintendo game on Amazon right now. Higher than Zelda, higher than Mario, and all the other big announcements at this E3. That's stupid big for Metroid! The fact so many people are talking about it, hyping it up, the fact it's on par with the same PR and initial hype levels as the new Mario Party, the new Smash character, the trailer to the sequel of the biggest Zelda game ever, in a few ways even higher than all of those, the fact it's on the Switch and the development history behind Dread and the general track record of Metroid itself, on top of this is inherently going to boost Prime 4's success and press because of everything I just said. Like, this new game has everything going in its favor right now, and it inherently is doing Metroid as a franchise all the right favors right now. And the icing, the pretty little bow that makes this so beautiful, the cherry on top that makes this very juicy for everyone involved, not just Metroid fans, is that one, the game looks amazing. It's styled just like the other 2D Metroid games. It has the melee counter from Samus Returns. It has a new slide move, which from what I'm hearing from Metroid fans is like one of those small add-ons and things that adds that much to the general gameplay and feels nice. I love Samus's design. I like the enemies, the enemy robots. I love the whole stealth vibe and tense atmosphere the game has. Actually interpreting the Dread theme of the game very well. I personally think the game graphically looks really good too. I kind of get where some fans are coming from saying the graphics are just fine or just good, not like mind-blowingly amazing, you know, and they could be a decent notch better. I'm a guy who's not into Metroid, so take that sub-take for what you will, but for the first HD Metroid, I think the game looks very crisp and pretty. That's me personally. I'm into 2D action adventures, I'm open to trying Metroidvanias, and I'm aware that genre of games has a big audience as well, but the game just looks nice, fun, scary. I love everything it's trying to do. And thankfully, you don't need to play the other Metroids to play Dread. You can use Dread as a starting point, but me being the guy I am, I do want to play the other Metroids more because of this game. This is a whole video I have planned for later. Video game backlogs. We all have them. We all have a list of games and series we want to get into. Me personally, Metroid's been up there in my top 5 as far as priorities, but with Dread now, it just makes me want to get into the series more. And I already know I'm going to get a lot of comments telling me, I should play Metroid, Fusion, Zero Mission, Prime, etc. I know. I plan on doing so. Just wait until I unload the rest of my backlog and series I want to play. Y'all are really gonna hate me then. But Dread looks like such a really good game. And the second cherry icing with that is it's coming out in only 3 months. October 8th, 2021. That is not far away at all. I have zero doubt in my mind this game will likely be the best-selling Metroid game. I at least hope so, but bro, the non-Metroid guy knows how big this is for Metroid and Metroid fans. It's a new game after so long. Millions are actually talking about it and anticipating it. It's a canceled game getting revived. It's a new Metroid on the Switch. It looks like an amazing Metroid game. It's only adding to the amount of Metroid content for the series and help boost any later games in the series, specifically Prime 4. It's coming out very soon. Again, it just has all of the odds in its favor right now. All this game needs to do now is to sell well. That's basically all Dread needs as a game. It literally has everything else, it just needs to catch on upon release. And with how massive its PR turnout is right now, I have a lot of faith in it. And we all know Metroid fans are largely being very accepting and open with having newer fans into it. There's like no gatekeeping or anything toxic. There are a few people, a vocal minority, making a stink online about the price being $60, but they got slammed so hard from fans and non-fans alike, because both non and actual Metroid fans, they know they can't afford to gatekeep or speak ill about the game, especially when most agree the game looks very good for the most part. Any criticism and valid criticism is good, don't get me wrong, but the price point when it's the same as every other first party on the Switch, yet it's not a port, it's a brand new game in a series that hasn't gotten a new mainline entry in 19 years, it looks good, and it's big for Metroid in so many ways, like, no. I know it's a vocal minority speaking that. So far, that's the only complaint this game's gotten so far from what I understand, but we all know most Metroid fans and general Nintendo fans see this as a massive deal, a massive win for Metroid, and another Nintendo IP that's getting another new game after waiting for one that's been in development hell since 2017. It's all just very exciting. The majority of Metroid fans and Nintendo fans talking about this are being very nice, very excited, basking in all the understandable justified hype in so many different ways. It just needs to not sell poorly, and even in that department, it's likely it won't. And I cannot wait for this game to come out super soon in October. Are you guys looking forward to this? Any non-Metroid fans? Your thoughts? Maybe this persuaded you a bit, or you already felt this was massive and cool and you're gonna get the game. How many Metroid fans watched this and felt this was at least semi-interesting, and are ecstatic to see Metroid is getting more new supporters after all these years, alongside getting 2 new games with the Switch? Chat in the comments. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for, yes, more Metroid content, and other Nintendo content a la discussions, streams, let's plays, reviews, analyses, and more. Stay super.
Yo, hey, 妹妹，嘿，我来呀！共和啊，大哈哈呀！拉面，嘿，来面，白哥面，共和，再见呀！哈哈，拉面，翘手面，谢谢。